Bhagavatam class will be on the mysterious Lord. The Lord is always, for eternity, doing activities. Yes. It's not on the screen yet.
Class will be on
right. So, the Lord is always doing activities which are mysterious to us. We'll never understand how and why the Lord does what He does, but only all we can do is appreciate. And actually, this is one of the benedictions of life, because one of the qualities of Krishna is that He's ever fresh and ever new in His dealings. But if you know what He's going to do, if you can predict what He does all the time, then it's not as fun. But if He completely surprises you, then you're like, wow, that's amazing. So in devotional life, actually, be prepared to be pleasantly surprised for eternity, actually. But also at the same time, we're in a very difficult stage where we're not really in devotional life yet. We're starting, but we're going back and forth. We're oscillating. Yes, I want to try it for a devotional life, but then I have so many material attachments. So in that time, this anartha nivritti stage is very difficult. In one sense, it's the worst place to be, because people who enjoy materially, they actually get some pleasure out of life. But us in our stage, we don't get any pleasure. We're not qualified yet to get pleasure spiritually. And then at the same time, we can't get pleasure materially because it just causes us so much shame and all these things, because we know it's just an empty endeavor. So now we're in this like dry desert, trying to look for a drop of water to help us. But really what we have to do is overcome this anartha stage. Somehow or other, just keep endeavoring on the spiritual path. And then we will start to actually develop relish for the spiritual path. And then real pleasure will come. Material pleasure is there. People get some material pleasure, but it's also mixed with oscillating material misery, up and down. You gain some, you lose some. Victory, defeat, honor, dishonor. Like this, hot, cold, summer, winter, and so on. It's going to keep going like that for eternity. So the spiritualist, though, you can have an eternal increasing anandam buddhi vardhana, ever increasing ocean of bliss, actually. But we have to actually power through this anartha nivritti stage, and we have to tolerate the dictates of the mind to want to try and anartha means that which is not valuable. Artha is wealth. Anartha, that which is not wealth, not valuable at all. But our material attachments are not valuable at all, but we still have so many name, fame, prestige, wealth, sense gratification, even scholarship, all these things. We want to be, we want all these things of this world. But if we have suitable intelligence, we'll realize the futility of them, and then we'll pursue spiritual life. We'll pursue the spiritual path, and we'll try and be recipients of the Lord's mercy and receiving pleasure through glorifying Him, through understanding Him better. So this is what we're trying to do. The Lord is going to reveal to us some of His more mysterious ways today via the Bhagavatam. But before we begin, we should chant our prayers honoring the Gurus, from which no knowledge can come without the mercy of the Lord. And how does He send His mercy? Via His representatives, the sages, the saints, the prophets, the Messiah, this, that, and the other. I thought maybe your dad was coming. He's not coming today. Okay. All right. You can scroll here.
Stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam nileham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajakam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Shri Nishakam Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishwadaya Krishna Vishwaya Murtale Namaste Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesham Shunyavadi Prasrachane
Offer my respectful obeisances unto my Diksha Guru, his great Shami Krishna. I want to offer my obeisances unto the Diksha Gurus who have been also helping me in my life. And there has been quite a few the past few years. I feel very fortunate to be in the association of such great souls. And last, I want to offer my obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, live, online, no matter where the Vaishnavas may be, the devotees of the Lord. I want to offer my obeisances unto you. The Vaishnavas are the reason that the Lord even comes to this world and gives his mercy, his pleasure, simply to please his devotees. Everything else that he does is just incidental to that fact. Yes, he kills demons, he restores religion, all these things, but actually the Lord's main dealing is giving pleasure to his devotees. So when we become devotees of the Lord, we can actually know real, everlasting, ever-increasing pleasure by having this reciprocal relationship between God and the living entity, us. And that relationship has all potential to get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. But first, you must even know that there is a relationship. If you don't know there's a relationship, there's no chance of acting on that relationship. So this is the whole process we're doing. This Divya Gyan, Sambandha Gyana, trying to understand who's the Lord, what does he do, what is my position in relation, and then how to act appropriately, and how to improve the relationship. Just like when we first met Parth some years ago, there's some dealings, but now after knowing Parth for maybe two plus years, we have different dealings, 2 years exactly? Just yesterday. Yesterday was 2 years. Wow. Would you look at that? Before I go any further, I want to glorify it's Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day today. So we sing his bhajans, Vibhavari Shesha, every day. Radha Krishna Bol is his bhajan. Jeev Jago is his bhajan. The Gaur Arati bhajan is his bhajan. Yashomati Nandana is his bhajan. The Prasadam bhajan is his bhajan. Jaya Radha Madhava is his bhajan. So many contributions. Actually, this Chaitanya Gaudiya Vaishnava movement all but left this world practically by the time it got down to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur very valiantly reignited this, and that's why they've titled him the seventh Goswami, reignited this bhakti movement. And without Bhaktivinoda Thakur's contributions, we wouldn't have Bhakti Siddhanta, an empowered acharya, one of his sons, seemingly son, but another great devotee of the Lord that he called down to this world, and who is the guru of the ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who actually fulfilled many of the prophecies of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Oh, Abhiram and Sita, good morning. So, yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. So, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy, Srila Prabhupada came here to the West and distributed his books and given us access to this Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, and the chief being the Srimad Bhagavatam, this ancient teaching. And we'll see. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the baby. You guys don't get distracted. So he's just looking at me with these eyes. So anyhow, the last verse we read was Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of the Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in the devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention, and thus gained release from the course of material existence. So now Yudhishthira is leaving, Kunti is leaving, and they're realizing that now that Krishna has disappeared, it's time for us to go. You may realize in your life, right now you have some facility to practice devotional life. But say something happens, there's no more facility here for devotional life. Krishna has left the building. You leave. You no place to stay. Where Krishna is not, you don't go. So when Krishna left the world, his dear devotees, they also are saying, now time to go. And they lead by example. So the devotees are leaving. Why? Because Krishna is leaving. But by good fortune here in Syracuse, Sachi Sutta and Nitai, Gaura Nitai have appeared here. And actually so many other expansions of Krishna have also appeared. And there's increasing devotion here. So we must stay here. And we must increase the Lord's plan here and the Lord's service here. Yes.
Unless we're preaching, right? Like
what?
Devotees want to go and go to places where Krishna isn't and bring Krishna there.
Yeah. But there must be Krishna must be there with them in order to do that. So that's very important that one does personal development before trying to preach. It's a little spider right there. So it's very important. I think our acharyas have said many times, unless you can act by ideal example, and better not to preach, because the preaching will be ineffective, and you'll actually, because you're what's called prakrita sahaja, have all kinds of infatuation and attachment to materialism. All you can do is actually bring people towards materialism in that state. So very, very important that we act. First, we have personal development and act in ideal character, and then then from there we can go out and share. So first, Shravanam must hear and really hear. Let it touch the heart and resonate deeply, and you can live by what you've heard. And then Kirtan, you can share what you've heard. So we have to do. And if we have a lapse of judgment, and let's just say, we can't so much. What are you looking at?
Excited.
Yeah. We can't so much act in good character, then maybe we should take a pause button on our sharing so deeply and work back on hearing again. So, and then we can try again when after hearing, sufficient hearing has been done. So like this, but we'll see. Let's try text 34 of 15th chapter. We'll continue on. Yaya harad bhuvo barang tang tanung bija vajaha kantakang kantakaneva dvayang chapi shitu samam. Yaya, that by which aharat, took away, bhuva, of the world, badam, burden, tam, that, tanum, body, vijaho, relinquished, aja, the unborn, kantakam, thorn, kantakena, by the thorn, eva, like that, dvayam, both, cha, also, api, although, ishitu, controlling, samam, equal. What are you doing here, Abhira? Has to play the harmonium. The Supreme Unborn, Lord Sri Krishna, caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller. So, purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that the rishis like Shonak and others who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya were not happy to hear about the yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from this mental agony, Sutta Goswami assured them that the Lord caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. The Lord and his eternal associates appeared on earth to help the administrative demigods in eradicating the burden of the world. He therefore called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu family and serve him in his great mission. After the mission was fulfilled, the demigods, by the will of the Lord, relinquished their corporeal bodies by fighting amongst themselves in the madness of intoxication. The demigods are accustomed to drinking the somaras beverage, and therefore the drinking of wine and intoxication are not unknown to them. Sometimes they were put into trouble for indulging in intoxication. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated, but afterwards they regained their original forms by the grace of the Lord Sri Krishna. We shall find this story in the 10th canto. For the Supreme Lord, both the Asuras and the demigods are equal, but the demigods are obedient to the Lord, whereas the Asuras are not. Therefore, the Asuras are demons. Therefore, the example of picking out a thorn by another thorn is quite befitting. One thorn, which causes pinpricks on the leg of the Lord, is certainly disturbing to the Lord, and the other thorn, which takes out the disturbing elements, certainly gives service to the Lord. So although every living being is a part and parcel of the Lord, still one who is a pinprick to the Lord is called an Asura, and one who is a voluntary servitor of the Lord is called a Devata or a demigod. In the material world, the Devatas and Asuras are always contending, and the Devatas are always saved from the hands of the Asuras by the Lord. Both of them are under the control of the Lord. The world is full of two kinds of living beings, and the Lord's mission is always to protect the Devatas and destroy the Asuras, whenever there is such a need in the world, and to do good to both of them. This is a very interesting thing. Well, he's saying, is he kind of alluding to the Yadu dynasty as being Asuras? They're burdens to the world? Maybe that question may arise. Ultimately, the whole purpose of their coming to this world was to serve the Lord. But the facility for serving the Lord was no longer there. The Lord had left. So now, anytime there's a great power in the world, what it does is it actually becomes a burden to the earth. Whenever there's a great power. You just see, at the USA now is now becoming a great burden to the world. Everyone, now they're all forming alliances like BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and what's the other one? There's another, what's that? South Africa. Parthi knows his BRICS. So anyhow, all these countries, they're forming alliances and this, that, and the other. Why? Because now we've become the disturbing element of the Lord. Even though we, in World War II, we saved the world in one sense. But now, after some time of being in power, power corrupts in this material world, and next thing you know, you become the disturbance. So the Yadu dynasty, the demigods and all this, ruling over the material world, but with Krishna about to leave, they would only burden the earth. So Krishna had to arrange a set of circumstances for them all to also leave the world. But they're like great thorns, but he used other thorns. He used themselves to actually remove each other from the earth. So this is, it's a mystery. How could the Lord have his own family, his own devotees, all this, go die in an intoxicated madness? It's actually quite mysterious. But if you understand how the Lord comes and leaves this world, you can understand the deeper mystery. And it has to be revealed, actually, by devotees, because if we lean on our own understanding, we'll definitely make a mistake. Like, oh no, this can't be. The Lord is all perfect, all loving. Then these things could never happen to the Lord. How could, like in the Christian, how could Jesus, the Son of God, be betrayed and then go up on a cross and get nailed to a cross and all these things? How could such a thing? If we lean on our own understanding, no, that can't be. But if we see the Lord has some mysterious workings he wants to do, some mysterious pastimes, Jesus was to resurrect and just give everyone even more faith. So Krishna also when he has the Yadus leave this world. He had his own ulterior purposes, and our acharyas have said that one of the purposes is to bewilder the atheists. Because after all the wonderful activities that Krishna did on this world, it would be very easy to accept Krishna as God. But if he were to leave in this way, then it puts in speculation and it gives some fuel for the atheists. How could this be God? Even though everyone else, even you just read the Bhagavad Gita, you just read it, and you just let that teaching, you bask in it for like a few nights. You'll be like blown away. It's clearly some divine thing has come for giving this teaching. But at the same time, if it's that easy for everyone to just receive the Lord and there would be no material drama. There would be no purpose for this world if it was that easy for the liberating process. But there's a great drama here that has to be. It's like a great movie. And if there's no compelling problem in a movie, it's not a very good movie. Every great movie, whether it's The Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or then let's take it like a classical epics like the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and so on. If there wasn't a great, compelling demon figure, in the world, then there would be no great story. So this material world is like a great drama, which prepares us for the even more wonderful dramas that the spiritual world has to offer. But the spiritual world's dramas aren't like the fighting and the demonic things of this world. Actually, the spiritual world's dramas are all in everyday, ordinary dealings with the Lord, is in relationship with the Lord. But anyway, I'll pause there, not to reveal too much. Yatha matsyadi rupani date jahyad yathanataha bhubharakshapito yena jaho tachcha kalevaram yatha, as much as, matsya adi, incarnation as a fish, etc. Rupani, forms, date, eternally accepts, jahyat, apparently relinquishes, yatha, exactly like, nata, magician, bhubharaha, burden of the world, kshapita, relieved, yena, by which, jaho, let go, tat, that, cha, also, kalevaram, body. Translation: the Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth, just like a magician. He relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. The Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, is neither impersonal nor formless, but his body is non-different from him, and therefore he is known as the embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In the Brihad Vaishnava Tantra, it is clearly mentioned that anyone who considers the form of Lord Krishna to be made of material energy must be ostracized by all means. And if by chance the face of such an infidel, or an offender to the Lord, is seen, one must clean himself by jumping in the river with his clothing. The Lord is described as Amrita, or deathless, because he has no material body. Under the circumstances, the Lord's dying or quitting his body is like the jugglery of a magician. The magician shows by his tricks that he is cut to pieces, burnt to ashes, or made unconscious by hypnotic influences. But all are false shows only. Factually, the magician himself is neither burnt to ashes nor cut to pieces, nor is he dead or unconscious at any stage of his magical demonstration. Similarly, the Lord has his eternal forms or unlimited varieties, of which the fish incarnation, as was exhibited within this universe, is also one. Because there are innumerable universes, somewhere or other the fish incarnation must be manifesting his pastime without cessation. In this verse, the particular word date, eternally accepted, and not the word dattva, accepted for the occasion, is used. The idea is that the Lord does not create the fish incarnation. He eternally has such a form, and the appearance and disappearance of such an incarnation serves particular purposes. So basically the Lord, it only appears that he's appearing and disappearing. The Lord is eternally present in these forms or manifestations, and he can reveal them, and then like a magician he can cover one's vision of them, and only those who are deeply connected to the Lord can see beyond the illusion, but we are, the most are not. So the Lord is revealing, and like a magician, he's hiding and covering. And so when he leaves this world, oh my God, Krishna left his body here, Balaram left his body, but this is not the body of the Lord which is left. The Lord is mostly uppercut, not manifest. But he manifests himself for the benefit of his devotees, and then for the benefit of all upon the earth. And then when his purposes are served, then he disappears and becomes unmanifest again, and gives the living entity the chance to look for him. So this is what our job is. The Lord has manifested and given us some inkling that he exists, and given us some teachings that we can apply and follow. And then when we go on the spiritual journey, he slowly becomes more and more prakat to the spiritualist who is trained in how to recognize this unmanifested subtle form of the Lord, which is beyond the scope of the material senses. But he only will reveal himself to the living entity who is very eagerly seeking him. That's the only price we have to pay to purchase Krishna. We have to develop some greed for the relationship. Some greed for the relationship. If there's no greed for the relationship, and you have to see if you really have greed for something, you'll give up other things to get it. I'll give you an example. When I met my wife, I still had some relationship with my previous girlfriend. We were texting and so many things like this still. And but I very much liked my wife when I met her. And so at one point, my wife was not very happy with me texting my previous girlfriend and maintaining a positive relationship with her. So, and I tried to, use all of my nonsense reasonings, but no, it's fine. This is yeah, I'm helping her, things like this. Anyway, so she made it very clear to me that this is not going to be an okay activity, and that I was at risk of losing her association if I continued with this behavior. So I made a choice very quickly. I was very greedy for my wife's association at that time. So I said, all right, my previous lady friend, I'm so sorry, but I can no longer be having such a relationship with you anymore. And slowly it ended very quickly. But there was still, it didn't like completely disappear right away. But over time, it very quickly.
Just get married.
Yes. Very quickly.
Once we get married, then it's.
Yes, once we got married, then she finally called it quits on any endeavors. But so this is a material example. But if you have greed for God, if you have greed for the Lord, if you really have spiritual greed, you'll give up so many material things for that greed. You'll give up so many material circumstances. So like this, who actually has greed for God, or will you get distracted with being the best in the class of the PhD students, or whatever, even the best so-called bhakta on social media, or on in the region, or all these things. We can put a material spin on our devotional life too. But actually, to really have greed for the Lord, you'll give up everything else. Actually, all these things will have to go. The Lord will only take you 100% in your pure desire to serve, and then the Lord says, "Okay, I'm conquered by such a desire." So this is what we should try to cultivate, this greed. So the Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita 7:24 and 25, the Lord says, "The impersonalists think that I have no form, that I am formless. But that at present I have accepted a form to serve a purpose, and now I am manifested." But such speculators are factually without sharp intelligence. Though they may be good scholars in the Vedic literatures, they are practically ignorant of my inconceivable energies and my eternal forms of personality. The reason is that I reserve the power or of not being exposed to the non-devotees by my mystic curtain. This is the Lord's mystic curtain. And the God, everyone wants, oh, show me God. Show me God. You probably have heard an atheist say that. Why should you be eligible? God is the most wonderful thing in all of existence. Why should you, who is a non-devotee or non-devoted to the Lord, and what's that make us sinful? Why should us sinful people be eligible to receive the most wonderful thing immediately? What's our qualification for the most wonderful thing? Think of all of the material opulence you can get in this world. What is our qualification? Oh, you could live life like the celebrities on yachts and have your own islands and have young girls partying with you and this, that, and the other thing. All facilities. That's like saying, give me that. I deserve this thing. What qualification do we have for that thing? We don't have the qualification. Or we would also be doing what these other great materialists are doing. But only some have the qualification to have their own islands and the young girls they party with and enough money to do all these things and so on. So what is our qualification to see God? And actually, for those, the only qualification is our sincerity. Do we want to see God? Jesus says, if you seek, you shall find. If you ask, you shall receive. If you knock, you shall enter. Do you want to see God? If you want to see God, He will reveal. He'll remove the curtain. But only one who actually wants to. They can actually see beyond the Lord's curtain. Otherwise, He puts a curtain of Maya, a curtain of illusion. And you'll never, ever, ever be able to surpass the curtain of illusion only if the Lord lifts it by you melting His heart. That's the only way. You've melted His heart with your sincerity. Lord, I want you. Look what I'm willing to give up. I'll give up this. Just please give me you. Very difficult. We develop attachments for things in this world. We develop attachments for people in this world. Maybe a wife, children, money, home, all these things. So much can come. And only by the Lord's mercy, He may send a personality who's free from all these burdens. And such a personality can reveal to us the glories of the Lord and the ideal of having the Lord in one's life as opposed to all these things. And if we develop attachment for that person, and we serve that person, then hopefully we can also have the same glorious prospect that they have in their life of being very intimately in association with the Lord. So this is what we're looking for. But the less intelligent, so he reserves the power of not being exposed to the non-devotees by my mystic curtain. Why should we see the most wonderful thing? The less intelligent fools are therefore unaware of my eternal form, which is never to be vanquished and is unborn. So the Lord has a form eternally, and it's only revealed to those who are of the highest echelon of living entities. And it's never to be vanquished and is unborn. In the Padma Purana, it is said that those who are envious and always angry at the Lord are unfit to know the actual and eternal form of the Lord. In the Bhagavatam also it is said that the Lord appeared like a thunderbolt to those who were wrestlers. Shishupala at the time of being killed by the Lord could not see him as Krishna, being dazzled by the glare of the Brahmajyoti. You actually see in the Bhagavatam when Krishna entered Mathura to kill Kamsa in the arena, all the different people in the stands, they all saw Krishna in a different way, depending on their eligibility. Like the wrestlers saw him as some great thunderbolt come to destroy them. Kamsa saw death himself. The yogis saw the absolute Brahman take form. So they were like this. They believed that the formless took form for some particular purpose, and so on. It depends on one's qualification. So Shishupal, at the time of being killed by the Lord, could not see him as Krishna, being dazzled by the glare of the Brahmajyoti. Therefore the temporary manifestation of the Lord as a thunderbolt to the wrestlers appointed by Kamsa, or the glaring appearance of the Lord before Shishupal, was relinquished by the Lord. But the Lord as a magician is eternally existent and is never vanquished in any circumstance. Such forms are temporarily shown to the Asuras only, and when such exhibitions are withdrawn, the Asuras think that the Lord is no more existent. This is one of the reasons the Lord has to disappear in mysterious ways. So there has to still be facility for those who are demonic to be demonic. If it's just obvious to everyone what the Lord does, then there would be no demons. And the drama of this material world would end very quickly. But this drama has a purpose, and the Lord wants to keep this material world cycling and going as is. So he has to appear and disappear in such a way, mysteriously, that the devotees will want to go closer to him, and that the demons will be bewildered by his tricks, and then will also go away from him. So he's doing both all at the same time. He's wonderful, actually. So the Asuras think that the Lord is no more existent, just as the foolish audience thinks the magician to be burnt to ashes or cut to pieces. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material body, and therefore he is never to be killed or changed by his transcendental body. Let's do one more verse. Yada mukundo bhagavani mangmahim Jahosvatanva shravaniya satkatha Tadahareva pratibuddha chetasam Abhadrahetu kalir anavartata. Yada, when? Mukunda, Lord Krishna. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Imam, this. Mahim, earth. Jaho, left. Svatanva, with the self-same body. Shravaniya satkatha, hearing about him is worthwhile. Tada, at that time. Aha eva, from the very day. Aprati buddha chetasam, of those whose minds are not sufficiently developed. Abhadrahetu, cause of all ill fortune. Kali anvavartata, Kali fully manifested. When the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifested to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge. So this is actually, it's Kali Yuga, a very unfortunate age, but he can only create inauspicious conditions for those who are not so intelligent. And this is most of us. We're not so intelligent. So when Kali's influences come, and we'll learn actually about Kali now. It's coming up soon. Maharaj Parakit and Kali. And we'll learn what are the conditions that have to be present for Kali to create these inauspicious conditions. And do you know what they are? We call them something.
Can you just repeat that?
What are the things? What are the conditions that have to be present for Kali to manifest and create inauspiciousness in one's life?
Meat eating, intoxication.
Yes, the
gambling.
four regulative principles. So these regulative principles Prabhupada is giving the devotees so that we don't have inauspicious conditions imposed upon us. So if we avoid places where the eating of meat is, or animal slaughter, it's any transgression of mercy, any type of violence to other living entities, and meat eating is one of the most subtle forms of violence that's present everywhere. But anywhere where there's violence to other living entities unnecessarily, where mercy is not being shown, that's inauspicious. Get away from there. Anywhere where there's intoxication, where austerity, there's people who get intoxicated, they have no austerity actually. Anywhere where austerity, where discipline is not being practiced and self-growth and elevation isn't happening in these places of intoxication, it will create inauspiciousness. Don't go there. Anywhere where there is, what else is here? Illicit sex, let's go to gambling. Gambling is also gambling. It's hard. Why not gamble? What's the casino have to do with regulative principles? It's actually the truth. The Vedic pillar that's being broken is honesty. Anywhere where there's dishonesty present in the dealings, you don't go there. It'll be very inauspicious for you. Where those are like cheating institutions, like a casino. It's rigged. They rigged the whole system. You're gonna lose your money. You stick around. You might become expert in navigating the casino, but ultimately, if you stick around, you're going to lose your money. Even that's why some people also say elements of the stock markets and things like this. Yes, very big risk. I myself have been dabbling in the opportunities for making money in these realms, but yes, they can create great inauspiciousness if one is not exceedingly careful, or actually maybe don't go at all. The Prabhupada is actually teaching us where real value lies, even in the material world. Real value is spiritual life. But even in the material world, real value lies in land, real value lies in cows, especially cows, food grains, gems, and precious metals. These are real, and then of course assets, properties, things like this. This is a long-lasting value. But all these digital fluctuations are, we're looking for our digital bank balance to go up. Even our paper money, Prabhupada Shasta has criticized this paper money system. It's a cheating system. Every day they're devaluing the money by printing more and more trillions of dollars every day. So every day you hold on to the piece of paper, and unless you cash it out with something of real asset, it just gets less and less and less and less. So this is actually why the whole cryptocurrency came into play, because people they're recognizing the cheating system happening, and they're trying to create their own decentralized system. But even this, I'm seeing in this realm that I've kind of traversed, that there's rigging elements of it. The president is now engaging in these activities. He just made billions of dollars in the cryptocurrency industry. And people are controlling these things, markets. So you be very careful in going anywhere where dishonesty is present, gambling is present, and then last is illicit sex, which is a lack of cleanliness. Cleanliness internally and externally. If one is, has the desire for, and what is illicit sex? So in order to know what illicit sex is, you should know what is illicit sex. Illicit sex is in marriage, having sex life for under the auspices of the Vedas, under the auspices of the scriptures and God, for trying to bring a good child to the world, a child that can be devoted. This is proper sex. Or even if you're not a devotee, let's say, but just bringing sex for children to try and make good children, whatever your version of good is for you, that's okay, no problem. But otherwise, this lust for sexual activity, otherwise for pleasure and things, is actually due to a lack of cleanliness. Cleanliness outside, there's all kinds of diseases that come from this, things like this, and a cleanliness inside, where what's the dirtiness is that we don't even understand who we are. We are thinking we are this body, and that the way to get pleasure in life is to stimulate the senses of the body. But actually this is impossible. There's no amount of stimulus you can give the body that actually gives happiness. It only gives a little flickering of happiness. So this,
so much more problems.
What's that? And it entangles you, and it creates many, 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 many problems. All of these things, they create many inauspicious conditions. So we have to be very, very, very careful in traversing this Kali Yuga. And we'll just read the purport. The influence of Kali can be enforced only upon those who are not fully developed in God consciousness. One can neutralize the effects of Kali by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of the personality of Godhead. The age of Kali ensued just after the battle of Kurukshetra, but it could not exert its influence because of the presence of the Lord. The Lord, however, left this earthly planet in his own transcendental body, and as soon as he left, the symptoms of the Kali Yuga, as were envisioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira prior to Arjuna's arrival from Dwarka, began to manifest. And Maharaj Yudhishthira rightly conjectured on the departure of the Lord from the earth. As we have already explained, the Lord left our sight, just as when the sun sets, it is out of our sight. And, Kali Yuga is like the night. After the sun sets, the Lord leaves. Now this age is here. So now mercy, uncleanliness, lack of discipline, and a lack of honesty are going to be present everywhere in this age. But we must do our best to always be developed in God consciousness, and we can rise above these things very easily. But if we don't become developed in God consciousness, the all-pervading energies of the Lord will eventually capture us. These energies of the illusory potency of the Lord, or the negative part of God's creation, will surely capture us, and we will have an inauspicious, hellish type of life. And maybe you've already experienced, when you're involved in these things, how hellish things can get. I know I have in this life. And try not to be subject. But anyhow, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki, Gaur Premanande. Thank you for joining online, and we'll see you guys.